I'm going to give you a quick overview of the battery. Come to this manual, and I'm just going to take a couple seconds here to go over just the general specs. Charging volt is between 4.2 and 4.6. It is a group 31, so it's a standard size battery. The energy is 1280 watt hours. Max continuous charging current is 100 amp. We're going to be charging it at about a 0.2 C, so we're not going to come anywhere near that. Continuous discharge is 100 amp as well, which we will be testing extensively. Okay, here it says recommended charging current is 0.2 C, 20 amps, which is about what we're going to do today. So the terminal type is M8. It has a pretty cool manual. Has all the standard stuff you'd expect. How to hook it up, long-term storage. Talks about their BMS. Gives some cool diagrams about the discharge curve, which if you're new to lithium iron phosphate is a lot different than lead acid. So for those of you who are new to lithium iron phosphate that might be coming from the lead acid world, this manual will explain all the differences between the two. So now let's jump into this app. You can put it on your smartphone, Android or Apple. You can just download it from one of their phone stores. But what it does is it lets you see everything about the battery remotely. You can see state of charge. You can see all your different cells. You can see the voltage of each cell. You can see the temperature. You can see the amount of energy coming in, the amount of energy going out, the differences in the voltage. It's a really, really powerful tool. And I'm telling you, once you use it, you will never want to use a battery that doesn't have this Bluetooth functionality. It is absolutely amazing. So the second feature is this one has low temperature disconnect. So if it gets too cold, it'll shut down the battery, which is necessary for lithium iron phosphate batteries because they can't take being charged when it's freezing out. So this one takes shutting down the battery one step further. It actually has a built-in heating element in it. So when the temperature gets cool, it'll switch and it'll turn this heating element on until the temperature gets back to an acceptable range. So that way, if you're outdoors, like say you have a rig or you're out camping or you're just somewhere cold, this will protect the battery 24 hours a day. So let's say you have an off-grid cabin and you have solar panels, but it gets cold and maybe you're not there all the time. So with this battery, you don't have to worry about it getting cold, freezing, and wrecking the battery. It is always going to protect itself. Self-heating, so there's nothing you have to do. The BMS inside of it, which is the brains of the battery, it will do all that for you. So no action on your part is needed. Automatically does it. It's really cool. So what we're going to do is we're going to charge this battery up. We're going to do a capacity test. And then we're really going to push it hard, and we're going to check for all of the safety features. We're going to check for overcurrent. We're going to see if it does do a surge. We're going to see if it shuts down after too much. And then we're going to see if it can take 100 amps consistently. So stay tuned. Let's have some fun with this. The battery is now fully charged, and I'm going to do a capacity test on my battery tester here. This will apply a low C load, about a 0.2 C load. So just turn the dial. I want to get up to about 170 watts. So we got about 12.5 amps coming through. This will tell us the capacity and the amount of energy and also the time that it ran. We'll check back in a few hours and we'll see what we get. I was watching it on my smartphone, so I know that it is done. You can see there it's at 10.2. And it's 103.4 amp hours and 1303 watt hours. So, it easily beat the capacity and the energy, which I figured it would. So now we're going to do some load tests. I got my 1500 watt 12 volt inverter hooked up. We should be able to power some serious stuff. First up, I'm going to see how it runs my heat gun. This should pull a fair amount of amperage through it. Let's see what it does on one. About 53 amps coming through. Of course, no problem. Let's bump it up to 2. Let's see if it can do. That's 108 amps, so it's over the 100 amp. So now I have a small motor, so it's going to be an inductive load and a heat gun. Let's see if it can do both. Let's just see what happens. I'm going to start the heat gun on low, and I'm going to start the inductive load, see if it can do it. We're at 52 amps. We're at 68 amps. Now let's go full blast. It's 121 amps. All right, the battery shut off. It's at 121 amps, and then the battery shut off. So that's that overcurrent protection kicking in. Impressive. everything worked the way it should. So I'm going to run that small motor and a reciprocating saw. So it handled those fine. Now I'm going to try my big chop saw. Now it's outside, so I'm going to go turn it on and see if we can handle it. Well, that's pretty impressive. It pushed out some nice amperage on that, no problem. Next up, I'm going to do my large shop vac. $84 amps coming through. Let's see if I can do the inductive load still. So at 100 amps, no problem. Now we're going to try that same large shop vac and a heat gun. That's 140 amps. Now I'm going to do it on high. Went to about 146 amps, and then the battery over current discharge shut it down. So it worked perfectly fine. The battery performed well in all my tests. And I mean, you just saw the load torture tests. It was taking power tools, inductive loads, even took a chop saw. That's a heavy pop of current. It took it fine. And then all the safety features worked. So it got to about 140, almost 150 amps, was there for about 10 seconds, then it would cut off the battery. So the safety features work. This battery's got all the features you're going to need. It's got low temperature protection. It even has more than that. It heats itself when the temperature is low. It's got a Bluetooth. It does 100 amps out. It has all the safety features. So if you push it past that, it'll shut itself down. So there's never any problems.